I was reading a story about Eddie Van Halen. He was the lead guitar player for the rock group Van Halen, and many consider one of the greatest guitar players of his generation. But he passed away on October 6, 2020, from what's called a cerebral vascular accident, better known as a stroke. But he also had underlying causes like pneumonia and a bone marrow disorder, and he had lung cancer, which had moved from his throat cancer that he had originally down into his lungs. And he battled that for 3 years, and a lot of people thought that that's what he passed on, but it actually ended up being the stroke. But his last words, they were very important, and I want to share that with you today on your morning cup of inspiration. Now, if you followed the band Van Halen at all, then you knew about their breakups and their reunions. I didn't know Eddie Van Halen myself, never met him, but watching videos of him with his son Wolfgang, you can see how much he loved him and how much he loved his family. But there comes a time when you'll have your last conversation with those you love the most. And it might be the very last before you take your last breath. It may be the very last before they take their last breath. It may be just the last time that you see them before something happens either to you or to them. But it's the last words that you'll remember or that they will remember. And that's so important. And Eddie's, he was surrounded by his family. And his last words were, "I love you." You know, I remember when Beth was in hospice, and everybody that came into the room, she made sure to let them know that she loved them. I was sitting on the bed next to her and we were talking, and she told me how much she loved me. And I'll always remember that. When my mom passed away, she looked at my sister and I, and she could barely get the words out, but she said, "I love you." And we remember that. Over in Ephesians 4:31-32, it tells us, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you." See, when we have to realize that people will disappoint us, we know that. Even the people that we love, they will disappoint us. It happens to everyone. But we don't want to let disappointment harbor itself in us, because it leads to grudges, and then grudges leads to mistrust, and mistrust leads to hatred. And we want to stop that. Stop there at the beginning. Let it go. Think of Joseph and his brothers. Over in Genesis 50:20, it says, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. You bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today." He forgave them for what they had done, selling him into slavery, because God had other plans for him. So you think about those you love, those who mean a lot to you. Tell the people that are close to you that you love them. Even if you think they already know, tell them again. You never know. It may be the last thing that they hear you say, or the last thing that they remember from you. God bless everyone. Look forward to seeing you again for another morning cup of inspiration. Have a wonderful day.